Good morning. It's Tuesday morning. We are here at Money Truth Moments with the one and only Judy Copenbarger. Good morning, Judy.
Good morning, Carlos. How are you doing this fine Tuesday morning?
I am doing fantastic because I'm doing my favorite thing on Tuesday morning, which is Money Truth Moments. So I look forward to always our great lessons, great conversation, and great wisdom. Folks, if you're just joining us, welcome. We are here every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. If you're not following Judy, well, you need to stop what you're doing and you need to follow her. Follow her at judycopenbarger.com. There is all of her social media connections are on there. There's a wealth of information that we're going to talk about a little bit later. But I want to pick up because we got a jam-packed show and there's a lot of great information. And we're still talking about married couples and money. But today we're going to talk about relief. And Judy's got so much to share that I don't want to take any time away from you. So take it away, Judy.
Relief. No kidding. I remember that commercial years ago. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz. How do you
Right.
relief?
Right.
Some people spell relief M-O-N-E-Y, but that's really not. That's not the core of it. That's not the base of it. It feels like if you have more money, the problems will be solved. The problems just get bigger. Trust me. We've dealt with people that have very little and people that have a lot, and some that have had both cycles in their lifetime, sometimes several times over. And it's not the money that makes your life amazing. It's the use of money and being able to master it and have it do the things for you in your life that you want, where your goals show up and your values show up and life is meaningful because of the way the money is used. So for me, relief is not having money. Relief is managing money and having a plan around it. People that have money, people that really have mastered their wealth, they don't think about money. Some of us wake up every day and think, oh, I've got this bill to pay. I've got that to do. I've got to make sure I, can get the groceries or pay the tuition and things like that. People that have mastered their money never have those thoughts. They might have someone that they delegate to that helps them manage their money or pay their money or run their business and things like that. But they don't think every day about how am I going to get the ends to meet, because they have a plan. It's not because they have so much money necessarily, but they know what their money's doing, how it's moving, where it's going, and how it's allocated. And they have that peace of mind that comes from that planning. And that can happen even if you don't have a whole lot of dollars. It's just having a strategy in place, implementing a plan that works to help you achieve your most important goals. That's how you spell relief.
Awesome. So you talked about a little bit about strategy and planning. What are some best practices? How do we get started? I mean, that's the bottom line, right? A lot of us kind of just muddle through, kind of go with the flow. Hey, I heard this, and then I heard that from somebody else. And then this guy's telling me this, who's an expert, and then the other expert's telling me something else. But bottom line is, how do we get started? What are some things that we should establish to get the strategy and plan ready to go?
Yeah, great question. And I think it comes in two steps. It depends on what phase you're in. If you're in the phase of a restart, you're in the phase of a reboot, you're in the phase of, well, there's just not enough. I'd love to plan. There's just not enough to plan with. I don't have enough stuff, basic resources. What am I going to do? So if that's the phase that you're in, I would recommend that you look at the 3 waves method. That means you're short, right? There's not enough money to finish your month. And if that's where you are, there are only 3 things you can do. You can either earn more, you can spend less, or you can sell something. And it might be a combination of strategies. But it's amazing when people actually do this basic exercise. And if you're a couple, you could both do it. Take your, list of 10 things in each area, come together. You'll end up with 20 that you can brainstorm. And when I say brainstorm, I mean, don't think that's a bad idea or that wouldn't work or I can't do that. You want to really be free to think outside the box. Think of something maybe in a new way you've never thought of before. Before you start criticizing the idea, well, that couldn't work, that wouldn't work, I've never done that before. Well, maybe it's time. So if you each get your pencil and your paper, get your pen and your paper, and write down 10 things in each of these areas, come together, you'll end up with a pretty good working list of a place to start. And the first thing is, what can I do to earn more money? how can I earn more money? Is there a side hustle I could do? Can I start a business? Can I turn a hobby I have into business? Could I rent out the couch or pitch a tent in the backyard and Airbnb it? What could I do to get money? The second thing is, what could I do to spend less? And some people say it's already so skinny, there's no more belt tightening, there's no more room. But maybe you have a couple cable channels you don't need for a period of time. Maybe you can do without some or limit some of those. Maybe there's some dining out, maybe there's some extra shopping that doesn't need to happen or that can be kicked down the road. Take a week or two off from shopping or a month or two off from shopping for those things. Do I really need them, or is that a want? Or is it a wish, right? Needs, wants, and wishes. So, what are things that I could do to spend less money? And it could be as drastic as we can't afford this house. We need to just downsize. Maybe we could sell one of our cars. We don't really need all those car payments and maintenance payments and insurance and registration. Maybe we could do with less for a while and Uber for a while. It might be as drastic as that, or it might be so simple. And then the third category is sell something. And maybe it's sell your house, maybe it's sell your car, maybe it's sell your boat, maybe it's sell the toys that you don't really need. And it might be little toys like that your kids play with, or it might be big toys like, I really enjoy the jet skis and the trailer and all the insurance that goes with that. But do I really need that right now? Is there a better way I could allocate that pile of cash right now to help get to my reboot? And it might be as simple as cleaning out your garage. It's crazy the money you can get from the stuff in your garage. Old nails and old bookshelves and old DVDs and I mean crazy stuff that's trash to you, treasure to someone else. And there are so many apps that can help you do that. There's even these um, strip mall, like UPS places and mailbox places that will actually list them for you. They'll take a percentage, but they'll do all that work for you if you don't want to figure it out. So, what could you sell? Do you have extra furniture you don't need, extra clothes in your closet? Somebody could really appreciate them. So, worst case, you can give them away and take a write off on your taxes. Best case, you can really make some money. It's amazing what you can sell, and you wouldn't even know. Oh, picture frames. I mean, it's just lamps. It's crazy stuff. Lawnmowers. How many lawnmowers do you need? So that's what you can do in phase one if you're just trying to make ends meet and you're just trying to catch up. If you're in phase two, there's a whole different strategy. So you can let me know if we have time and we can get into the phase two strategy. And I think you're muted, Carlos. I can't hear a thing.
That was weird. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna come back to phase two because I do want to talk about that and make some time for it. But I also want you to talk to folks about sometimes when we talk about business, when we're talking about trying to find what we can do to get more money, right?
Mhm.
There's some ideas you may share with folks, and I think like, man, you're way out there. And I think a common theme to all of this is there's a lot of folks because they don't understand, they kind of crush those dreams or kind of crush that momentum. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Are you asking specifically about a business idea, like starting a business?
Like a business idea, exactly. Right. I don't think that there's any idea that you can put out there that's crazy that not to work as long as you put the time and effort. But you're the expert and you've seen this quite a bit.
Yes, and I love working with entrepreneurs, and they don't have to be young kids, young adults. I love it when people have an idea and it's something they're putting into the world that's never been there before. Maybe it's an idea they put a new spin on, or it's a product that, why didn't somebody think of that 20 years ago? It's crazy good. And sometimes it's just taking ideas that are there and expanding on them, which is amazing. And we've got entrepreneurs in our family. I am one, but our children are all in their 20s and 30s, and they are entrepreneurs. My son-in-law, I'm so excited. He's a civil engineer and he has his professional fancy job and all of that, but he's very creative, very artistic, and he's so gifted, so gifted as an artist. And I don't understand all of it, but there's some game that people play. I think it's one of the Asian games that people play, has something to do with cards, and there's cards they do and trade and things like that. And so my son-in-law figured out the demand for these, and he designs these amazing cards that are everybody wants them, and he ships them all over the countryside. And it's
Wow.
something that 6 months ago didn't even exist, but he saw a niche, he created something, met a demand, created a demand, and now it's a very lucrative business for him. It's amazing. And then his wife, our daughter, is quite farmy. We have an organic farm, and so we're always planting and propagating and growing vegetables and fruits and all kinds of rare, amazing things that you've never tasted unless you've been to someplace really exotic. And so she has found out the demand. Again, find a need and fill it, right? She has found the demand for some of these seeds and some of these goji berries, all these things that you can't get anywhere. And she figured out that people are really wanting to have access these resources. So she sends them either seeds or plants or the fruit where they can do what they need to do with their tea, a lot of holistic medicinal plants and things like that. It's amazing. But it's just opening your mind to something, not doing what everybody else does at Costco or what everybody else does, opening a coffee shop or opening what everybody else is doing. What is it that I'm interested in? And other people will also have like interests and then create a demand there. And I would love everyone, I know everybody doesn't have that entrepreneurial spirit naturally, but I would love for everyone to consider, particularly if they're in this phase where they really need more cash flow, it would really help them get to the next level. To think of what it is that they love to do and how could I turn that into a recurring flow of cash? How can I turn that into income that might be sustainable for a long time? Maybe it's temporary and that's okay. But if it's permanent, I mean, what could that do over the trajectory of the next 5, 10, 20 years in my life for my family? Crazy. So I support any of you who are entrepreneurs. You want to make sure you get the business entity right. You capitalize the business right. You don't over leverage. Don't borrow 100,000 from your house necessarily to open a business. It might make sense to do that. Most of the time, I recommend against it. Find another way to capitalize because it's more risk than most people need. But if you can pull the resources together and take that idea that just lights you up where it's not ever work, it's fun for you, do it, go for it. I can't imagine something I would want to encourage you more around than opening a business that's your baby, your idea, and then helping bless other people's lives through it. I love it.
That's awesome. And I appreciate you sharing that because I think folks need that encouragement, right? And one of the key things you also said is that you don't have to be young to get this thing going, man. It could be at any age you start this. And that's what I wanted you for you to convey to folks and people that are just joining us and listening to us. Welcome to the show. We're talking about married couples and money relief. That's the key word for today, relief. If you're just joining us, thanks again. Make sure that you're following Judy at judycopenbarger.com. In a few minutes, we're going to be talking a little bit more about the resources available on her website. But I want to get back into, because it's a jam-packed show, and I want to make sure that we have plenty of time to talk about some of this. One small area that you also mentioned that I want to make sure that we address briefly is also, we talked about needs, wants, and wishes. And that's a big one. Whether you start a business or you're set up or whatever. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yep. And it has to do with allocating your spending dollars, your expenses. So people think, oh, I need to go to the movies. I need to have a new pair of shoes. I need some blue shoes. So do you really need it or do you want it? Or is it just a wish? So I think when you prioritize those things, a need would be housing. I need to have an apartment. I need to have a house to live in for my family. A need might be transportation. I've got to have either a car or a bus ticket or a way to get to work. I've got to have transportation. That would be a need. I need food. I need gas. If I have a car, I got to put gas in it. And then the second category is wants. And a lot of people blur that line because
Mhm.
it's fun to get what you want, right? We want what we want, and we usually want it like right now.
Right.
So is it really a need or is it a want? And you look at your spending plan if you keep a budget or you do something on Mint, things like that. You can look back at, was it really a need or a wish or a want? It's usually easier to do that with hindsight than foresight. Because when you're looking forward, you're in that, I want it. I want it. In fact, I think I need it. I think I need to go to Hawaii next month. I think I need that,
Right.
because I'm tired and we had COVID and it's time for a break. Is it really a need? I don't know. So, and it might be, if it's a big anniversary trip, it's a big family celebration, and you've put it off and it is time and you've planned for it and you financially are ready for it, that probably is a need and it should happen and you should celebrate. It's not like, the Grinch, stingy, never have anything. You just want to make sure that you allocate it where it's an appropriate necessary item or a discretionary item. And you want to have a bright line with that. And sometimes it's tricky because if you're married, if you have other people making decisions with you, they have their list of needs and wants, and you have your list. Well, he needs to go golfing. Well, I need a new purse, right?
Mhm.
So
Yep.
you bump up. You bump up against that. So sometimes you might need to have two separate lists going and really understand what those needs are, what those wants are. And it's the best way to bring harmony into a marriage, to have these conversations and be clear about what it is that you really need. Maybe you don't need it all the time, but you need it some of the time, and give and take and all of that, all the marriage stuff that happens. But yeah, I think it's really important to get clear about needs, wants, and then wishes. Wishes are, one day it would be really cool to take the kids to a dude ranch for a week and buy them boots and hats and ride horses and do the whole thing. That would be a really neat wish. I don't need it. I would like that. It might not even be as much as a want. A want would be, I need a new sweater at Christmas time. Um, but a wish would be, that would just be really cool to do. Can we plan that way? That makes life meaningful and fun and worthwhile, and creating family memories and things like that. So you want to make sure that you're not saying no to all the wishes, but you want to make sure that the needs are met first.
Excellent. And as we're talking about this too, regarding the needs, wants, and wishes, I want to make sure, folks, that you guys also know all the wealth of resources that are available at judycopenbarger.com. So let's talk a little bit about the website. Let's talk a little bit about the resources that are there. This all ties into the word relief, right? Because there is a lot of answers to a lot of the questions that we have. You want to talk a little bit about the website and the resources?
Of course. Relief is a word that I hear so much in the feedback. I hear peace of mind. I hear serenity. I hear freedom. Those are the words I hear from people, from couples, from families, from small business owners when they go through the curriculum. And it can be delivered, in a couple of different ways. So we have an online mastery course. So it's Money, Truth, and Life online mastery program. And you can access it through judycopenbarger.com. That's on your screen right now. If you go there /truth, you'll be able to see the green button. It takes you right to the course. And right now you can watch any class, any course on any subject of personal finance for free. You don't have to subscribe. You can just sign up and watch a course for free for a whole week. So if you time it right, you can watch a lot of courses in a week and just get a really great foundation. And I think that's the best way, that quickest route to get to that relief, to that peace of mind that we talked about. Another thing that you can do if you're a reader is just get the book. Just go to Amazon or go to Books a Million or Barnes and Noble or Target, anywhere they sell bestsellers. And you can get the bestseller, Money, Truth, and Life. And I wrote it several years ago. It came out with a big launch. It is a bestseller, doing really well. And the reason is it's so practical. It gives you real life stories of people that did really well in certain areas of money and people that made mistakes. And you get to learn from their mistakes, which is the best way to learn that. Hard knocks, right?
Mhm.
It goes through all 5 pillars of finances. It goes through the protective parts like legal documents, wills, trust. Should I have a corporation or should I have a partnership? How should I start the business that I want to start? How should I do all that? And setting up taxes, making sure that you're paying as little tax as possible in every area of tax. Things like insurances. What kind of insurance should I have? How much should I have? How much should I not have? Do I have the right kinds? All of that. And then everything about investments. What's a stock? What's a bond? What's a mutual fund? What's an ETF? What should I be investing in? Should I buy real estate? Should I be renting out maybe a second home or a condo? What should I be doing for cash flows, cash reserves? How much should I have in the bank? How much should I have in my investment? How much should I put in my retirement? And should I have an IRA or should I do a 401k at work or both? So it answers all of those questions from a primer level, like what is it, all the way through what should I be doing at my house with these tools? How do I best use these tools and optimize my personal strategy? It's all in the book, Money, Truth, and Life. It's all in the coursework. You can watch courses from classes of any of these areas and one class at a time if you choose. But it's all there at the Money, Truth, and Life online mastery program. And I built it just for people like you. Maybe you don't have a personal financial advisor or a strategic planner. Maybe you don't have a CPA. Maybe you didn't have the benefit of a finance degree or growing up with parents that taught you all of this. You've just kind of muddled through and tried to figure it out, and you've done well. But what if you want to do better? What if you want to take it to the next level and not just reboot and dig out, but actually thrive and achieve all those goals and get a lot of those wishes after the needs and the wants? If you're ready for that next level, this is information that will help you get there, guaranteed.
Excellent. No, and I appreciate that, folks. I have the book right here. You guys need to get a copy of this. It's easy for you to read. There's a wealth of information on here as well. We're talking about relief, and this is one way that you can find that financial relief is by, taking a look not only at the book itself, taking a look at the website for all the additional resources, and more importantly too, join us every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. so you can get some of your questions answered. We've always encouraged our viewers to make sure that they submit questions that we can address as well too. And today we are again talking about married couples and money relief, right? That's the theme for today, relief. What does that look like? And Judy's gone over, one phase of it too. I know that we're kind of pressed for time a little bit on here, but maybe you can talk, or let's just scratch the surface on phase two, and maybe save that for another day as well too. So.
Yeah, phase two, you're not hurting. You've got enough money. You're actually saving and you're putting into your retirement plans. And so you're doing okay, but you want to do better than okay. You want to get out of survive and get to thrive. What can you do? And relief is spelled PLAN, plan. Have a plan, have a strategy, implement the strategy, and just stay on track. Figure out where you want to go, draw the quickest, straightest line to get there, and implement. That's all you need to do. And if you need help with a planner, there are lots of planners that can do that. If you know what you need to do and you just need accountability, get a coach or get a CFP that can kind of help you implement and do what you want to do, even when you're not willing to. Sometimes you just need that kick in the butt, right? So,
Mhm.
but just to give you a couple of thoughts about the plan. For some people, it's about expenses, allocating the dollars. So the money comes in okay, but now where do we put it? And I just wanted to give you a couple of, I'm going to read from the back of the book here in the appendix, a couple of things that you could think about. How much should I spend on housing? Well, if you live in an area where your income is maybe 40, 50, 60,000, and it's a higher income area or higher housing area, you might need to spend 50 to 55% of your whole budget on housing. That's very, very high. But let's say you make 80, $100,000 or more than $100,000, and your housing area is maybe not so high. You would want to spend about 40% or less of your total expenses every month on housing. So somewhere between 40 and 50% is what you should spend on your apartment rent, on your housing with all the maintenance, insurance, and things like that. That's a good rule of thumb. So people are like, well, how much should I spend? 80%? No. 20, maybe more, right? But somewhere in there, 40 to 50%. Food. For most people, 8 to 10% of their whole budget should be food. And that includes eating out, dining, some of that entertainment expense, as well as groceries. That for most people also includes cleaning supplies, paper goods, paper towels, all those other things that you get at the grocery store, mop heads, things like that. People will also lump that in, but 8 to 10% is about what you should be spending on food. Now, if you can spend less than that, that's awesome. It's more money for savings and these other goals and the wishes that you have. Things like Let's talk about debt repayment. That should never be more than 4% of your total spending plan or budget, the B word, 4%. So if your debt service is several $100s a month or thousands of dollars a month, and it's way more than 4%, that would be one of the priorities to bring that down where it's down 4% or less for debt service. That's your credit cards, your student loans, your auto payments, things like that. So there are things that you can do in your spending plan. And again, this is part of the appendix in the back of Money, Truth, and Life, the book, which you can get on, if you like Kindle, you can even go to Amazon and get it on Kindle. But some people like the hardback book, and that'll give you a really good template, like a benchmark of what you should be spending in certain areas every month. And that will help you. If you need a plan, that's a great place to start.
Awesome. I appreciate that. I know we're getting close to the end of the show, and if you guys are just joining us, please make sure you watch the beginning of today's show. We have been talking about married couples and money, and today, more importantly, it's all about relief. And Judy has mentioned great content, great ways that you can get that relief that you need. Right? We've gone through this series. We've discussed several topics, so make sure you watch the additional shows. Also, make sure that if you're not following Judy, you do so at judycopenbarger.com. All of our social media platforms are on there, as well as a lot of free stuff, folks, right? Free resources. You can't get any better than that, right? Exactly. And also, as we're getting close to the end of the show, it's my favorite time. I know it's your favorite time, and that is our Money Truth Challenge. All right.
Challenge.
There we go.
It's time for the challenge. Are you guys ready? Here we go. So we talked a little bit about when the ends don't meet, when you're in a reboot, you're in a restart, you're just trying to start all over again and get the cash flow to work for you. We talked about that. We also talked about when it is working and you're surviving, how do you take that to thrive? And it just takes a little planning, a little planning. So here's your challenge this week. The first thing I want you to do with pencil and paper, pen and paper, is write down what you see on your screen right now, judycopenbarger.com. If you haven't already gone there, I really want you to go there. There are articles there that will help you that are free. There's all kinds of YouTube videos, classic videos on every area of finance that will help you. You can also get a link there to the online course. And I would like for you to challenge, go to the course for free and watch 3 classes, maybe 3 10 or 15-minute classes, and see and pick any subject that you want. It could be about stocks, it could be about taxes, estate planning, whatever, and learn what you can that is really going to help you get to the next level at your house. So the first part of your challenge is get to that website, watch a course or 2. 3 would be ideal. The second thing I want you to do is pick up the book. It's a little self-serving, but I want you to have the resources you need to do better. When you know better, you do better. So it's not a big deal. It's like the price of a couple of coffees at Starbucks. So pick up the book, Money, Truth, and Life. You can go, easiest way is probably Amazon. If you have that Prime, you just click it and it'll be delivered in a couple of days. It's not very much money, but it is life changing. And I'll tell you, if you get the book and you implement just a couple of ideas from it, by the end of the year, you're going to be on a whole new track, a whole new trajectory to get you started the right way into 2022. If you're rebooting, you'll have a plan. If you're ready to go to the next level, you'll probably have a lot of good ideas to do that will just speed up the process. So please pick up the book, read the book, mark it up, dog ear the pages, share the information. I have couples that will tell me they go fireside and read it a chapter a night out loud to each other. And then at the end of the chapter, they write down what they're going to do about it, what they learned, what they know not to do now, what they were about to do, and now they are not making that mistake. It's so valuable and life-changing. So the third thing, though, I want you to let us know your feedback. What did you think about it? What did you learn? What did you see in a new way? What perspectives did you gain from the stories in the book, from the basic understanding now that you have? It's like, oh, I never knew the difference between a stock and a bond or a bear and a bull. Now I get it, and I'll never forget it. So not only will it make you popular at the next dinner party and all the Christmas celebrations coming up, It will help you have a perspective that will shape the choices about money that you're about to make. It'll help shape the decisions that you make financially every day, every week. So you do better because you know better. So that's your challenge. Go to the online course, watch 3 videos, pick up the book, and then give us feedback. There's something valuable about thinking about something, writing it on paper, not just clicking with your thumbs, right? There's something valuable about getting it down onto paper and maybe in an email to us or on the YouTube channel or anywhere, Facebook, LinkedIn. But let us know what you learned. Something about sharing that out of your mouth and out of your hand makes it real, makes it valuable in your life, and it helps you implement. So that's your challenge, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Awesome. Judy, thank you for your challenge. Folks, thank you for joining us today. We've run out of time, but as always, we're here every Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. If you didn't watch the beginning of it, you're just joining us now, watch the beginning of the show, please. Again, we have been talking about married couples and money, but today's episode is more important because it's all about relief, folks. And that's what we need rather than this crazy world. So, Judy, thank you for your time. Thank you for your wisdom. I look forward to seeing you next week.
My pleasure. Have a great week.
You too.